Satnam, and welcome back to the podcast. I am so excited today for you to hear the conversation that I had with Christopher Witecki, who is now like an amazing friend, colleague. Christopher has brought about this amazing system to astrology, and his contributions to the astrology community have truly been amazing. In this conversation, we dive into his step system. We also talk about intuition and how important it is for us to come together as a community, a light worker community, and as he likes to say, unite the light. So Sensei Christopher Witecki is a master level astrologer and psychic, the channel guardian of the Step Astrology System, the creator and co-founder of SiriusJoy and Unite the Light, and the first astrologer ever to post a video reading on YouTube in 2006. I freaking love that. He's a successful businessman, a father, a spiritual leader, and a modern visionary. And I cannot wait for you to get to know him a little bit, get to meet him in this conversation. We had a blast. Let's dive right in. Welcome everyone back to the podcast. I am so excited today to have Christopher Witecki here as our guest. I was introduced to you by David Palmer like a few years ago, and I was very intrigued by your work. I think I was like following you for a while, then got like just crazy busy, but I've always been so interested and curious about your system, which you have developed. So I would just love to get to know you a little bit better, and for the audience to get to know you a little bit better and see your magic. So thank you so much for being here. I'm really excited to have you as a guest.
Thank you. I'm honored too. It's really nice. Thank you.
Awesome. So I would love for you to tell us one thing that I'm really curious about is, when did you begin to discover astrology? Like, what was your journey with astrology?
Well, first of all, my parents are like 70s hippie kind of, 70s, that kind of parent. So they were talking astrology signs in the house, and mom had Linda Goodman books on the bookshelf. So I would occasionally flip through Linda Goodman. And so I'd hear occasional Aries or Taurus come to the house. And then, so it's kind of instilled in me. My mom would do my tarot cards when I was, once I was in junior high. And she'd be like, it's some Aries that's after you. Be careful. I was like, so I'd be like, oh, some Aries is after me. What the. So I'd have that kind of thing. But then so I paid attention to it. But actually, it was weird because I moved every 2 years as a kid. And so I was always getting new kids. And so I started early on to like notice archetypes through names. So like I would go to another town and be like, oh my God, I bet you're a Chris. I bet you're a Matthew. Like, and so I started kind of like learning it that way, believe it or not. And then I had a girlfriend at 19, and she invited me over to her house, to hang out, make out, whatever. She's like, let me do a reading for you. Have you ever done one of these? No, I haven't. So she starts reading, and her face just starts to drop. She's like, oh. And I was like, what's the matter? Like, what's the problem? And she's like, I don't think we're going to work out. I was like, what? I was like, you're kidding me. She's like, no, I know. It's like all about career and da da da. And she said all this stuff about his career, and I'm so focused on my mission and all this other stuff. And on one hand, I was just like, oh my God, how can this piece of paper know this? And the other hand, I was like, oh my God, I'm about to get broken up from someone by a piece of paper. Like, no one's going to have this over me again. Like, I was kind of vengeful and angry, but not really. I mean, so I was in film school at the time, and I was like, this would make a great way to like write characters. Like I can flush out a character.
Oh
Like a
my
secret
God,
arc.
that's right. Yes, the archetypes for sure.
Totally. Yeah, just like astrology. Like I'll just run a random chart. I'll just write a character around that. Like I just realized, and so I was developing it for a film actually at first. But I opened, and then interesting. Yeah, yeah. I still will do that too, by the way, with my film stuff. But so I always know the character. I mean, for me, it's like it helps you make decisions in certain scenes. You're like, well, he's an Aries rising. He's probably gonna throw something. You know what I mean? Like, so it helps. It just fills in all the holes. That writers can't, and the nuances that writers can't necessarily come up with. So long story short, too late. I started giving readings and to people on the side, my wife's at the time girlfriends and all of her friends, and then everybody at work, and then like I was giving readings, and so it was a hobby for a long time in film school, and then I went to TV and started working in TV and started giving readings to all the girls, and I was on a Lifetime series for women, so it was like 45 girls on the staff and like 2 men. I'm quite often that darling among all these women, and anyways, one woman was named Lisa Roth, and she's just like, you're so good at this. Seriously, you need to quit television. You need to quit television and do this. Like, really? Like,
Whoa.
yeah. And she turned out to be David Lee Roth's sister. So she like ended up like buying me for like everyone, including Courtney Cox. And when I was sitting in Courtney Cox like Malibu home, and I was like, okay, I think okay, I believe I have something here. I have something.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a cool story. I
Thank
mean,
you.
yeah, no, I mean like the process of it, it was like so you were young and you were kind of being really exposed to it, I guess. You were exposed to it pretty young. That's different, at least for me. I kind of discovered it as an adult, even I think after my Saturn return.
Wow.
I didn't
Wow.
I knew about astrology, but I didn't start to really study it until after my Saturn return. I think something needed to happen there, something needed to click.
Mm.
But yeah, so I absorbed it really quickly, but I love that you had this kind of in the realm of the subconscious, these archetypes, these like stories that were really influencing you.
Yep.
So when did you so that at that moment that you were doing this reading for Courtney Cox, that's when you realized, wow, I think I'm onto something?
Yes, I realized. Oh, okay. It was a major wake up call because it was like, because she's like, "What can I do for you? What can I do?" That was wonderful, And I have to say, I hit it out of the park. Like I predicted the end of Friends. I predicted, divorce. I predicted a lot of things that happened. So I was like, "Fuck," that was really good too because I was nervous about reading a celeb and all this stuff. And I realized, oh my God, I've got to change everything. I think I need to. I guess this is it. Like, and I had the idea of like, you know what I'll do? I think I'll do video horoscopes. That's cool. Like I've never seen a video horoscope on the internet. That'd be so cool. And so that was my first thought. And plus the TV guy in me was still like, I'll take over television through video horoscopes. Like that was the plan. Like I'm going to save the world. And so I was like, I'm going to go on
Yeah.
video. Video had just started coming out as like viable at the time, like on the internet.
Mhm.
Porn was paving the way, so, and so I tried it and I was doing, it took about 6 months of practicing every day of doing stand-up horoscopes. I called myself a stand-up astrologer. At first, that was my first kind of thing. And after 6 months, I was finally good enough, I thought, to do horoscopes, and I went live. And then 6 months after that, YouTube was created. So I was on before 6 months for YouTube, and I was the first astrologer on YouTube, the first. Yeah.
That is crazy. Oh, I freaking love that. You're
Yeah,
right.
crazy.
I mean, so I remember also like when YouTube came about and it was a first, kind of really random things that you could find on there.
Right.
Didn't was not even regulated at first for a while.
Mm. Oh no.
But yeah, so you were one of the first astrologer on YouTube. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
The first one, like, there's another guy who's putting clips of his TV show in London. He had like a TV show in London, something Gordy or something. He was putting clips of his show, but it wasn't even him as his staff. I was like the first one to go, Taurus, you need to talk to me. This idea that we use as a medium, and it turned out it was really amazing because I had instant feedback to so many people. Like, with a reading, this, it's like you might hear from them a year, 2 years later, if they get another reading, if you can fit them in. And then you're like, it turns out you were completely right or not right. When I was doing daily horoscopes, I didn't have a very big audience because I sent it all to like all my TV contacts. I'm like, look at this. And all my TV contacts were like, holy shit. Like, I mean, they were kind of blown away, like, oh, wow. That's when they started to see, uh-oh, we have a competitor. So they were like, because Chris is doing these horoscopes. But I was getting feedback every day, like, that was so accurate. That was so amazing. And it was like, wow, okay. So it's like, it was answering so many questions I had about, does it work? Does it not work? Am I right about this? So I think I grew exponentially fast from the feedback, daily feedback, comments, things like that.
Yeah, no, and that's awesome. And also like being the first at something is always it carries this like energy with it. Wow, yeah, that's wild. So when you were doing these readings in the beginning, were you already using the step system?
No. So what happened was same story in the sense that I was in there doing horoscopes like for like I don't know, seventh weekend. And I was like, Jesus Christ, the planets have moved like haven't even moved. Like they haven't even moved. Like what am I going to report on? There are 3 minutes horoscopes each. Like what am I going to report on? What's to talk about? And I thought to myself, how is it that yesterday is so different than today? So different. Both in Taurus or both in Gemini. How is it the two Geminis are so different? And the planets have only moved just a bit, just a bit. Like Mars has moved a degree. Venus has moved like a whole degree. Mars is a half degree. The moon's moved 12 degrees. Like that's it, right? Like, and the sun's moved 1 degree. And
Mhm.
so I looked at the degrees and I asked my guides, I'm like, what is it? What do where is it? I asked them in the chart, where is it? Where is it that the difference is? And they kept saying number two, number two, the number two, number two, look for number two. I was like, number two, what the fuck? And so I look around, I'm like, oh, I noticed like almost every planet was at a 2 degree that day, which means it's all emotionally led, like all emotionally led degrees. And I was like, oh my God. And it's funny because you know how these things work. Probably 2 weeks later, 2 weeks prior, I had been flipping through a Linda Goodman book, just like flipping through, like, oh, I love this book. And I flipped to a page and it's like, boom, right on this page, it's like she decoded the planets according to a number. So she came up with everything but like Earth and Chiron, but she like Pluto was zero and one was the sun. And it had stuck with me so strong, like, wow, that's so compelling. I had no idea planets moved into numbers, right? And so in that moment where I was looking at and I heard the number two, I was like, wait a second, is it possible that like the Linda Goodman decode would apply to a degree? How's that possible? Like it's a degree, it's a man-made thing. How's that possible? I was like, well, I'll give it a try. And I said, well, that would mean that everything here is all emotional today. I'm like, that's for sure. I'm pissy as fuck. So I was like, right away, I had to click, like, my God, like I am so emotional today. And so I started to experiment with it. I did 5 years of experimenting with it before I told the public what it was. And I would tell the public, I'm like, the ruling planet today is this. And everyone would be like, well, how do you get that? I'm like, can't tell you.
Talking
But
about.
like, yeah, he totally kept the secret. But I would say, would you think it was Saturn? Do you think Saturn was I asked them, the audience, like, do you think? And they said, yes, they started to identify. So and then with readings, once you do a reading though with it, it was just like, whoa, you know, when you're reading a person, the themes in their chart with the numbers of the degrees is ridiculous. If you just, no one looks at it. No one looks at it.
I and I it's so freaking true. And ever since I had my reading, and then you did a reading for my husband, which we're both like, mouth open, like, what the heck? Because you're right. No one really pays that intense of detail to the degree that the planet is in. We all look at the house, the sign, and you get a lot of information that way too. But there is something about how specific it becomes when you bring in this, step system.
Yes.
If we could backtrack a little bit for people who are listening and they don't even know what we're talking about in terms of like connecting numbers to planets. In that initial book, that Linda Goodman book, what was it that she was doing to the planets? Like, how was she putting them to a number? What does that actually mean?
She was connecting that vibrational frequency expresses itself in many forms. And so she was saying, like, how tarot can lead to a planet and a planet can lead to a number and numerology. She was basically putting together, like, this is all one system, y'all. It's all one consciousness. They all have the same things. We're just calling them different things. The same states of awareness we're calling different in different places. And that was her point in that particular part of the book. And I can't remember. I always think of love signs. I never think of this book, like the title of this book. I'm sorry, Linda. I never, but I always give her credit. I always give her credit.
I
Like
love that. No, I love that. So basically, there's this concept that we're bringing in that really strongly that you really adopted, and it's this concept of numerology. And numerology is basically giving attributes to specific numbers. Now,
yes.
originally where that comes from? I mean, I know like historically in the world,
Mm-mm.
like math has been freaking huge, like related to even sacred geometry and, physics and stuff like that. But where do you know, or do you
Yeah, I do
wonder where
actually.
this came from? Yeah.
Pythagoras. So Pythagoras was the first one, according to my friend who's a numerologist, Josh Siegel, who great numerologist, by the way. Have him on the show, you'll love him. He's brilliant, and he's also got his own formulas that goes beyond the normal numerology. But he says Pythagoras was the first person, the first mathematician, back in, I don't know if it's Greece. I mean, forgive me,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know the Pythagoras theorem, like that type,
Mhm.
that recognized that numbers had a conscious psychological tie to them, and that there was some sort of tie to the psychology of a human being and the way their numbers added up, the way numbers were. I had a hard time with it at first because like this doesn't make sense because humans say it's a 0 degree. Humans, God didn't say that's 0 degree. Well, humans said it's 0 to 20. So what is that? But I eventually realized, oh my God, it doesn't matter what it is. It's if the humans all agree it's zero, it's zero. Like as long as we agree that that's zero, then we bring on zero. And if you think about it, there is a lot of nature. I mean, I think numbers are basically how God did it because it's like zero is like what? Loneliness, cut off, despair,
Right.
death,
Nothing. Yeah.
detachment. Like, yeah, we can all attach like zero energies and zero consciousness, right? And zero is Scorpio, the ones who draw boundaries, of course. The ones who draw a line, the ones who take you in their bed and into their zero and, have their way with you and, get you naked zero, get you back to rest, that's a Scorpio. And Scorpios rule zeros. And they're the zero makers and they can make space. They can keep space from you and they'll cut you off and never talk to you again, so. And zero's an interesting one too, because I don't know I can't remember if Linda found, I think Linda did find Pluto zero. That was a really compelling, like, of course Pluto is zero.
Yeah.
Um, but then you think about like number one is the sun. Well, of course, the sun's in the middle, it's number one, it's hot, I'm number one.
Ego, right?
You
Like
know what I mean?
It's like
Well,
me, myself, and I, or is it,
my heart. I mean, I think the sun's the heart. Like, so I've always differed a little bit from classic astrologers in some of the things they believe. You
Mhm.
know, people like willpower is the sun. No, I think willpower is like the heart wanting something and then the ego kicking in.
Mhm.
You know, I think the ego is what wills it. Like the heart's like, I want it, and the willpower is like, then the ego's like, well, we're getting in it. Like, that's another to the next like evolution, and that's the other big part of the step system that was an evolution. So I was studying it, like my guides were telling me and filling me in stuff all the time. So I'm an astrologer that channels 100%. Took me a long time to accept that actually, because my mom is just kind of weird as a psychic, so I distanced from myself from being called one, But
Yeah.
then once I had one astrologer's like, okay, first thing in your chart, you're a liar. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, you're not an astrologer, you're a psychic. You haven't studied astrology one day, have you? I was like, oh fuck,
You're
you
like,
called me
damn
out.
it.
You called me out. I
Yeah.
was like, okay, it's true. It's coming from somewhere else. Uh,
Like for me personally, like the journey of learning about astrology, the thing that frustrated me the most was that like it didn't matter how much I studied the technique and like the definitions, like there was a point where that only took you so far.
yes,
It wasn't until I like relaxed and allowed myself to intuit what was in front of me, like
yes,
whether it was a sun or a degree or whatever, and allow that to be a part of the meaning that it's almost like I unleashed something. Like, and I feel like that adds so much to the practice. Like that intuitive side, I think, is even more important than the technique, because anybody can study the techniques and maybe not even ever really get good at like really reading astrology. I don't know if that makes sense, but
yes,
just
totally.
something about the intuition behind like what you're reading that makes a huge difference.
Night and day. Night and day. I mean, I honestly think anytime I've had a classical reading, I haven't really been compelled. Like they haven't really got me. They didn't get me. I mean, they got me, but they didn't like, I wasn't lost in the reading and compelled. Because I mean, when I do a reading, yours and your husband's, it's like, I go into a space. I learned early on, it's like, oh, there's this, because I used to write notes, meticulous notes, and hand them like a report, which they never read. And it was me being nervous, not knowing enough. And then there was this one I realized, like, there's this zone I get into. I would start with the notes, and then like 7 minutes in the reading, I would just go off and just like not even follow my own notes. It was like,
Yes,
whoa, right?
I
And I was
love
like,
that.
what the hell's happening to me when I'm doing that? Like, what is happening? And I realized it's like this energy, this zone. I call it the zone. I get into the zone, and then I realized that zone is channeling. And I was like,
Yes.
oh, so then I started doing readings where I'd be like, okay, I deliberately put myself in that feeling, which is when you force a feeling onto your body, you're actually calling the universe to look up that energy. So I looked up the energy, and it's like, boom, I'd be in it, and then boom, it just comes to me. Now I'm in a place where, most of my readings are that, and I will look at the chart and I'll just tell the client, please quiet for a second, let me just tune in. And immediately my guides are like, okay, Mars and then Pluto, then talk about the sun. And I'm just like, I'm following the whole thing. I have no idea. And I'm discovering as I go, I'm like, oh, that's compelling. Yeah, the sun, like I'm adding to what they're saying. I'm not really coming up with it.
Oh my God. Yeah. When I first started, so I started my YouTube channel. Oh man, I think it was 2016 or 2017 or something like that. But I started actually on Periscope. I don't know if you ever.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, that was the Twitter thing, right?
I love. Okay, that was so fun. I miss Periscope because it was like super playful energy in that space. But anyway,
Mm.
I actually started on Periscope, like going live streaming and stuff like that. And I would mostly just like read like oracle cards and things like that. And I remember when I started studying astrology, I felt so like insecure at first, but I'm the kind of person that like kind of tends to throw herself like in the fire. I don't know why. It might be my Mars and Scorpio that I'm just like fuck it, let's go. Like just
Yes.
do it, you know?
Hmm. Hmm.
Whatever. If you make a mistake, whatever, you'll fix it later. But anyways, I remember at first I was a little insecure about it, even though I had this urge to just be like, oh, do it, you know? I wrote these scripts. Like I had
Yeah.
after script, I just like literally almost every word was like scripted about what I was gonna read, you know?
Hmm.
And now I will like pull up a chart like while the person is well, like while the reading is starting. I'm like,
Yes.
hey, let's pull up your chart. Let's get it here. Because I actually feel like if I look at it beforehand, I'm like messing with it, like the energy. Like
Yes.
it's so weird, but that's where like I've come to a place like that where I actually feel more comfortable not looking at anything at all and then waiting while I'm with the person. And one of the things, and what you just said, is that tuning into them for a minute, for a
Yes.
second, is actually 100% what I think is helps me to like tune into like, okay, what do I need to look at? And it does. It comes to you magically.
Nope, I know. I mean, I do things like I always like make jokes, and my mind would always have these funny
I
even
love that, by the way. I
yeah, I
that's
love
my
it.
jam.
Yeah, I love you were a fun audience. Like I was in my best form with you. Just because my energy is so compatible, and yeah, my
Yeah,
son's a
yeah.
Gemini, so I love Geminis and playing with them.
Hmm.
So I was like, when I'm totally free and I can just play with somebody, I'll just go out there. I'll go there, you know.
The
But
best.
my guides, I didn't realize it was coming from my guides. These images, like I didn't realize that it was psychic. All this, my whole life, I'd have funny images come to me. I'd say it, and boom, people laugh. And I thought that was just a witty sense of myself. No, it's my guides are fucking funny, and they would throw in images, and sometimes they'll throw an image in like in a reading that I thought would be a joke, like it's like a red wagon went over the cliff, and they'd be like, the guy, the client would just freak out. I'm like, what's the matter? And she's like, my red wagon went over the cliff when I was five, like like it's like exactly the
Dude,
image, and I'm like,
yeah,
whoa, yeah, yeah. So I realized I'm just a
yeah.
puppet. I'm just a puppet. I'm just
Mm.
Jim Henson's up there making me work, like it's all it is.
Yeah, it's like a like the yod, like the finger of God, like you're just like they're using you. I think that the more that you just relax, because at first it was like I would try really hard, but
Yeah,
that
yeah,
didn't really work. But then when I started to relax, that's when you channel the best, I believe.
100%.
And I also used to think for the longest time that intuition was like only something like specific people had a gift for, that you couldn't really strengthen it. What's your belief about that? Do you feel like we're all intuitive and we all have the potential to really tap in?
100% you're wired with everything. But one thing the step system tells us is how evolved you are in each state of awareness. So the perspective I take is that there are not 12 signs, there's 12 states of awareness. These are conscious awareness, just like you got a leg, you got features of being a body, you have features of the body, legs and arms and a nose. You have features of consciousness, features of awareness. And there's 12 features in this model, right? So each feature has a ruling planet, right? I believe Chiron rules Virgo. I believe Earth rules Taurus. I don't believe any planets science players share planets. That's the whole point. They're in pure form, and then they mix when they aspect, right? So anyways, if your Mercury is like up in the 20s, you are very experienced in the intellectual state of awareness. Like your mind has been developing lifetime after lifetime. You enjoy the mind, you enjoy using the mind. So the higher the number of the planet of the ruling sign, the rules of sign, the more aware the client is of that consciousness, like from their lives. And then also the step number tells you like where they are with it at that moment, right? So a lot of times people are very highly, in fact, I have a lot of clients who are extremely highly developed psychically, but they have past life wounds with the church, organized religion. And so they were forced to shut it down. So they're coming on from the perspective of super psychic, super intuitive, keeping it quiet, holding it back, repressing it. And so it's right there, but they refuse to acknowledge a fear of dying or something.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. In
Hmm.
one of the things that I include in my readings is human design and the jinkies, and there is this
Hmm.
concept in human design that we are all conditioned. And I believe that, yes, we're conditioned by like our parents, the belief
Hmm.
systems that we adopted from our parents. And essentially, it's like you take on these things that are not you and you put them on as if they are you. And it really does repress who truly lives inside, because I do feel like we're all really unique. But
Hmm.
this is also true that the conditioning can come from past lives.
I think it all. I personally believe it all comes from past lives, all of it. So,
Mm.
if you have a child, quite often, so this is common. I have tons of Chiron and Pisces people. That's my main client. They're like my main bread and butter.
That's
Chiron and Pisces.
funny. My husband, Don has
Yeah, I know.
Chiron
I
and
was like,
Pisces.
here's another one. Here's another
Uh,
one. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. And these are souls. I mean, they came that generation right now. First of all, that generation is hot right now because of Saturn and Pisces. So I just
right.
did a shit. I mean, I noticed that I'll do a shitload of Chirons when when the Saturn's there. That current
Mhm.
generation all come up as clients. So you can see the trends as stuff moves. So I'm doing nothing but Chiron and Pisces readings for like the last 2 years, right? And These
Wow.
people all were wounded by the church, all of them. They were all wounded. They were either pagans that got burned, or they're witches that got killed, or they were, they were Christians that like, got turned on once they climbed up, or they dared to tell the Pope something wrong. Like, and so I'll see the Chiron and I'll go, oh, it's a church religion. It's a church thing. And then as soon as I tune into it, my guides are like, yep, it's a church thing. It happens to be Christianity. So my guides will tell me exactly what it was and what period it was. And usually Chiron is like many times too. So Chiron's one you've had several times. It's a theme. It's been going on from, and you tend to flip sides. So it's like pagan, and then they're the Christians that killed the pagan. Now they're the, pagans that get killed, and they go back and forth, usually with the issue, trying to correct it.
Hmm.
So long story short, I can't remember what I was saying. Oh, so we can tell how developed a person is by the number of this, how high the sign is, the degree of the sign. And so there are people that like Neptune at 0 or Neptune at 1. And these are people that are just basically, their intuition is like just in the wilderness, you know.
Mm. Would that make it less evolved? Would that make it stronger?
Well, I think what happens is you compensate differently. So the people who like have no intuition, they're the ones who are like looking for signs in the world all the time. So
Oh.
they're not reading inside them. They're using Chiron or Virgo. So they'll be like, "Oh, a white dove went by me. That means this is going to happen." Like, so they're using which is true too. Like reality will completely. God will tell you. Reality expresses itself in everything, everything. So you can take a skin. You probably get a good reading from a skin cell if you wanted to. Like who you are is in everything you touch and everything you experience. So
Yeah.
people can read those signs in like animals walking by or things of the weather. Or so I think it moved from like weather. So people have like Chiron and Virgo, or people have Neptune and Virgo. They like read like through the earth and through the body. That's
Oh
what
my
there's
God,
like,
I love that.
yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. And so there's so many ways also to like be quote unquote intuitive. Like there's images, there's sometimes it's a feeling, sometimes it's a sensation in your body, sometimes it's a smell. Like I'm very clairvoyant, so I also get a lot of images like you.
Hmm.
And also, at first, I would think that that was just like my crazy overactive mind because I have
Hmm.
Gemini in my chart. I was like, oh, it's just my crazy mind. I'm like all over the place. But
Hmm.
then I started to realize actually I'm getting these images for a reason. So what happens if
Right.
you just share what you say? And I think that that's how we can all learn to get stronger at our own it's trust it. But I also know that that's not everybody's journey either to like fully learn to trust it. But I believe that when you learn to trust your intuition or your psychic senses, that you learn to trust yourself and you're
Oh,
guided in life in general.
well, I think what you're saying is a huge leap in personal development. So when you realize that there's no incidental anything, like, so the thing about it with those images, I didn't request them. I just sit down and go, let's think of a boat image, like, and start thinking, oh, maybe it has this, maybe it has that. I didn't go through my mind as a catalog and pick out like the kind of boat I wanted. I was like eating a tuna sandwich and a boat image comes up. I didn't ask for it. Where the hell did it come from? I didn't ask. Nothing in me asked for it. We're sitting in a park and a boat image. It makes no sense. And so one thing you notice is to go, when you start noticing when your conscience takes over on its own, does stuff without asking you, right? After all, it's a state of free will. So why did it do that?
Right?
Where's that coming from? Like,
Where is it
so
coming from? Yeah.
totally, or goosebumps, like goosebumps in a reading is
Yes.
huge. You probably get goosebumps. Like,
Yeah.
we'll both get, both the client might be like, oh, like we're both getting it at the same time.
True. It's true.
You know what I mean? And I
Yes.
think goosebumps are angels or whoever's walking with us. They just slightly just bump into your field apparently, and that their energy they just put their field into your field and it just gives you goosebumps from the touch. They're touching you in heaven, basically, from what I understand.
Oh my God,
Um,
I love that. Yeah.
yeah, it's a little bit of a touch. So you realize it's like, whoa, that's interesting. Where does this come from? Once you identify that voice in you that's coming out of nowhere,
Hmm.
that's the beginning of your psychic awareness. So what happened was I was shut down. That numerologist was right. My mom is a psychic, self-proclaimed, and she's like, right 50% of the time. So she's right enough for us to go, she's psychic, she is. But she's also ludicrous on the other 50. And just like ludicrous, stuff. And, completely wrong. Like, you were out last night, you were this. And my brother might be like, shut up, it was me. Shut up, she's picking up on you. Like, take the fall. Take the fall. We as kids are like, you owe me one fucker. But like, so I was afraid. I was afraid of being like her, afraid of being called crazy. And this is what she said. She said, "You have a mother that calls herself psychic." She's like, "You're afraid of being called like her." And when I left that reading, I was 100% psychic, 100%, because I realized, oh my God, it's this voice right here, this one inside me over here. That's it right there. That's it. I
Mhm.
identified the feeling of it, where it was in my consciousness, because you usually put it somewhere in your space. You have it, people like put it in their space like a cupboard. It's
Mhm.
coming from over here. It feels like this. I know exactly what it feels like. And so from that point on, I just looked for that feeling or connected to it first, and boom, 100%.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, that's I love that. And I think that it's true that there's a certain point where it also kind of takes a quantum leap, I guess you could say. And I
Oh
think,
yeah.
yeah,
Well, when
that's
it tells you absurd stuff, when it
yeah,
tells you like President Trump is actually a woman, like what? What? No way! Like you hear stuff like that, you're like, no way, no way, no, no, come on, that has to be your imagination.
hilarious. Oh my God.
Yeah,
No, I
stuff like
think
that.
it's funny, like late earlier this year I used the phrase like, oh, the floodgates are open, and that's kind of a good way to describe it. It's like
Mm,
once you allow, like, you know, it'll just come through. Um,
mm. On
yeah.
everything, on everything.
Mm-hmm.
I used to sit
Yeah.
there in bars, be like, "Who's gonna sleep with me? Who's gonna go home with?" You know, I would just be scanning. I'm like, "There's no one here. We gotta go. She's not here." You know, like, you're like, "Come on, we just got here." But she's not here. I'm going. You know, like I know
I
it.
don't want to waste my time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Why waste my time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's funny. Yeah. So coming back to the step system, so you went through this
Mm,
process of you discovered that the planets were connected to numbers, numerology. It
hmm
resonated for you, but then you said you spent like 5 years trying to see if it would apply to the degrees. So can you
Yes.
tell me a little bit about that process and how it went for you?
The real, first of all, I was receiving information all the time, just like we just described. So in readings is when I did it. I would do readings. I wouldn't tell the client what I was doing, you know, and I would just sort of like go with it and see what the feedback was. You know, there's basically it's felt the same way as any other reading. It's like, okay, this is a two. Two means it's emotionally led. You know, your moon's over here, so your emotions suck to begin with. So that means if your emotions are already damaged, sure, it's going to not work over here where the emotions are ruling it. And I would just take that leap with the client, like your emotions are ruined over here. I'm like, oh my god, they're so accurate. Oh my god, and so I was just like, wow, this never doesn't pay off. It doesn't. It always pays off. It always does. And the thing about it that's so fascinating is because astrology is kind of difficult in the sense that it'll the house you have the planet in the sign in the house, and that's it. That's all we can tell you. Like it stops there, right? Like there's aspects to it, but it's like, well, what does this planet do once it gets to this house? We don't know. You know, it's like up to the client. I'm like, no, I should be able to tell you what, you know. And the step number says exactly what what I love about the step numbers, it tells you precisely what the planet is doing there and why it's there in the first place, which is that,
So, yeah.
okay,
No, I was just gonna say, so for those that are like beginners in astrology or just like trying to understand, so the
sorry.
degrees, no, it's all good. It's all good. But so the degrees they go from 0 to 29. So like
True.
each sign goes from like 0 to 29.
Correct.
So what you're looking at is literally is what number is the planet in between 0 and 29, and then that's giving you like some information about that, which is that's what we're saying is so specific because there's like 30 different options,
Right. Yes, there's 30 different options. They're all
right?
different.
And
And
that's
each option
different
is,
than,
yeah,
yeah, that's different than like just the planet in the house and the blah blah blah. You know?
it's very specific. And so let's just do an example. First of all, when we say the degree, we're talking about the telescope. The telescope came up with this. When we had telescopes, we came up with 360 degrees. We to organize our being able to take notes. And I was an astronomer in a past life, looking for Neptune. A couple lifetimes I was looking for Neptune because I knew it was there. I knew it. But like the astronomer goes, okay, they take notation. 180 degrees is like from one horizon to the other,
Hmm.
right above you and below. So it's like the planet would be here. Well, how do we say it was here this today and here tomorrow? We came up with this degree system where we just labeled degrees from 180 degrees, and we started to track the degrees that the planet was in the spectrum of the circle, in the full circle. Being a circle of 360 degrees is a full circle. But then we divide up in consciousness, we divide up the 360 into 12 states of awareness or 12 houses. We're a 12 base system. Our souls are a 12 base system. I understand Sirius is like 18. Like, so different planet systems have different states of awareness and more. So in astrology, like another planet or another system, is like more planets than us. So we have all these different states of awareness. And then what we're tracking is how many degrees within that first, each state of awareness is only 30 degrees wide, 30 degrees. So for 30 degrees, and that's interesting because it's also, we don't get to 30 ever, which is interesting. I'll tell you why in a minute. We go from 0 to 29. That's where we stop. That's where human consciousness stops at each state of awareness. It doesn't go above 29, right? And my theory is, 30 is when you begin to ascend. 33, you're ascended.
Mm, I love that. I resonate with that. Yeah.
And it has to, but you have to ascend all 12 states. So you can't ascend, like you can ascend your ego, but then, something else is operating at a lower degree. But then, so then you have each number of the degree. So what I realized was, oh, what humans associate with a 0 is a 0. What humans associate with a 1 is a 1. Therefore, in a house, if your address is 445, it is Uranus, Uranus, Mercury, because we all associate 4 as Uranus. And so that house is called 445. The person who bought it was attracted to 445. We're all agreeing on the numbers all the time. Always agreeing on them. We have this 100% agreement of if they say that's the address, that's the address.
Right.
And therefore, that is what manifests there. Remember, we create our own reality. So everyone subconsciously who lives there lives a 445 experience, right? Which is innovate, think about it. You know what I mean? And so it plays out long numbers and short numbers. So we look at the planet exactly. So let's say the planet is 15 degrees, like halfway in the middle. So first of all, there's what I call a net step. The net step is how they add. Now that came completely from my guides. And I know numerology does the same thing, but I hadn't thought about that at the time. It was later, I was like, oh, this is just like numerology. I hadn't put the two together. I just listened to them. They're like, add them together, and it's this. This is the number you
Right.
pay to.
Yeah, because so for example, like when you do your life path in numerology, you add up all the numbers from your birth date and then you kind of reduce them. You keep summing. Yeah, exactly. I know exactly what you're talking about. But yes, so you're doing also that with the degree. So they have a specific frequency, but then they have an underlying frequency at the same time based off of what they add up to.
Yeah, technically there's three layers of frequencies going on. Three states, three Father, Son, Holy Ghost. We're in a three-based system in that regard, which is divisor of 12 by 4. So fascinating. So yeah, basically, really, the human being pays attention to the added one. So the added one is the one we pay attention to, the surface one. So the added one is the surface one. So in 15, it's the heart and the mind. One of the five. One's the heart, five's the mind. The heart and the mind are coming together to create on the surface openness. So you're open if you're functioning correctly. And when I say functioning correctly, I mean there's a way to pay attention to it. There's an order to pay attention to it. And the order to pay attention to it is actually backwards of the number. So if you're a 15, you need to pay attention. Your mind, 5, needs to pay attention to your heart, 5 to the 1. Mercury needs to listen to the sun. Okay, it's always always backwards of the number, because the number forward is actually how it manifests. It manifests forward, but you want to go back to how does it manifest? You go backwards with it. How does a human being apply it? By going backwards. And so if you're mindful of your heart, you will open. That's 6. If you're not mindful of your heart, you will not be open. So people cannot open if their mind ignores their heart. The heart will automatically close if your mind's not paying attention, because at this point the mind is dangerous.
Yeah, okay, that's interesting. So the question that comes up for me is at what point did you start using, so you said you started doing chart readings, like natal readings, and it
Yep.
really started to resonate. So at what point, because I know you do this, did you start to use this for the transits and to describe, because everybody, as astrologers, everybody wants to know, like, okay, predictions about, everybody's all like, they want to know that, or they want to know what's going on right now. They want to feel the energy. But you're doing it in a very specific way, which is through your system. So at what point did you like go into that world and discover that it works for all of it,
Well, I applied it remember, I was stuck in a studio having to create a 3-minute horoscope because I did 12 horoscopes a day for the first 5 years.
Oh my
So I was
God.
doing 60 videos a week, 60 videos a week, every week for 5
Wow.
years. And that was good. It was good because it was like watching every sign, every planet. You imagine the education you get really when you watch every
Right.
sign every day, 5 days a week,
Mhm.
and see what's going on. Then transits happening and how it affects them, and then knowing people and watching them. It was brilliant, really. It was my education. Right from the beginning, I had to, in the first day, I started using the numbers, and I didn't tell anybody. I just said I would call it a ruling planet of the day. And so the ruling planet of the day was the net step of the sun, because the sun is the center of the solar system. So it's the boss. Sun moves, we're all going with it, right? So it's the boss. The sun is the heart is the boss of the soul, and the soul system, the heart is the boss. So the sun, which puts out all the light and puts out all the energy for everything, pretty much determines what's going to rule today. If the sun's not shining, we're all like, the sun's shining, we're all, So the sun's degree. So I don't even know what the sun's degree is today because I'm lost. But
Well, it now is it officially at 0 Taurus.
I think we're at 1 now, maybe.
Okay, we may be at 1, but
I think we
anyways,
just turned 1 actually.
Taurus season. Yeah.
Yeah, we just turned one. We just moved off of Hitler and Queen Elizabeth's birthday, and now we're on a step one Taurus. Yeah, yeah,
God.
yeah, yeah. Zero Tauruses. I must. So yeah, so let's say it's a week from now, and it's eight. Let's say, if it was like step 12. So if today's a step 12 day, okay, then what's ruling all day is net three. I call it net three. That's my little term I came up with to just express it in a unique way. That means Jupiter's ruling that day. Jupiter's the ruler. Now, the ruler of the day is actually the intention of the soul. It is the root intention, I call it. It's what everyone here came on that day to do is to Jupiter that day. They all went to Jupiter that day. And Jupiter that day means we're going to explore, we're going to learn, we're going to put pieces together. We're going to, realize, oh my God, this goes with this. We're going to map things out. We're going to look at our story arc. I've come so far. We've got so far to go. And so ultimately, anytime that happens. Now, what's fascinating is what makes that happen. This is where my mind was really blown. And I can't remember when my guides, it just all hit me when they told me about the next step. Because I'm like, oh my God. If that's the case, if a 1 and a 2 makes Jupiter, that means that you can play different notes of the planets and make another version of the planet. So you can make a Jupiter Jupiter's easy because it's 1 and a 2. That's it. You can do 3 plus 0 makes Jupiter, or 1 and 2 makes Jupiter. But let's go Neptune. Neptune is 7. So for a 7, you can have emotion, which is 2, and Mercury, which is thoughts. Emotion and Mercury can create a 7. But you could also create intuition by having a 6, which is Venus, with a Sun, 1. So if you put the Venus and the Sun together, you're intuitive. But your thoughts and your feelings together, you're intuitive.
Yes. Okay.
And you think about it, you're like, that makes sense.
Nope. My mind just went, whoa.
Right. That's what my mind did. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
That means you can mix different consciousness like colors and come up with the same color.
Wow.
And that explains how different people are intuitive. You talk about when you said earlier, like, oh, people are intuitive different ways. One thing is I look at if it's a 7, how's that 7 add? Are they an open heart person, 6-1? Or are they mindful of their feelings, 5-2? Which kind are they? Or they just turn on and off, 0-7.
Yeah.
It's either on or it's off kind of thing, right? Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's fascinating.
I know.
So like it started off with just one simple, like looking into numbers. And were you always drawn to numbers?
Yeah, in some ways. Yeah. I mean, I'm drawn to them in the sense that I like, I have my favorites, and then my favorites are the ones that are in my chart too, 5s.
Yeah. No, I love that. Yeah, just curious. But yeah, so then it just started to evolve and evolve and evolve and evolve.
Well, you start looking at people's charts. So you start looking at people's charts and you see how they did it and how the next person did it. And you start to go, this is freaking brilliant. Like, it's so brilliant because you'll see, people have clear themes in their chart, like net 4 issues. Like this planet's at 13, so the planet's at 22, so the planet's at 4. They all add to a 4. They have an issue with Aquarius. They have an issue with net 4. They're focusing on 4 more in this life than others. And you'll see, watch it, Jay. You'll see the sun, that degree is adds to a 7. Then the ascendant adds to a 7, and the moon adds to 7. You'll see they all add to the primaries all add to the same net step. But they're each at different decans, and so they're each at different levels of human consciousness. That's the other thing too. Is the first decan from 0 to 9 is your inner self. So anything from 0 to 9 is your inner self. Those planets are focused only on the inner. They're not aware of the outer daily life, and they're not aware of the future. They can only really stay here. Any planets that are from between 10 and 19 degrees, those are all daily life, like expressed in daily life, expressed in what you would call life or reality. And then anything from 20 to 29, those are either two different things. They're either the future, something you're casting into the future, or they are global, like bigger things, like huge things, like things that are larger than one person or one person's life, right? And so you can tell so you have clients who are like, I can't get anything done, And you look at them, all their planets are all in the masters. I call it the masters of 20s and above. Those are master degrees. But those masters, they're so focused on the future, they don't know, they look down at your feet, they don't know what to do now. So you can see right away, if their planets are all high up, yeah, you're brilliant, but what have you done? Right? Nothing. These people have done nothing. Well, they're late bloomers. It takes them a while to realize, you gotta look down at your feet, which is why I think at 29 it goes back to 0. Because once you hit the ceiling, you go right back to the beginning.
Right.
You look at your feet once you're that high. When you're that tall, you gotta look at your feet. Otherwise you get lost, right? So
Yeah. No, yeah, that's a very interesting concept. That concept is also relatable to the lines in the human design, the gates and the
really?
keys.
Yes.
So they have 6 lines, And so it's from 1 through 6, and then it starts again 1 through 6, 1 through 6. There's 64 gene keys, and each one of them has 6 lines. So that's their little flow. They just only go up to 6, and then they switch. But their lines is like, the first one is an individual energy. The second one is like a relating energy. The third one is more dynamic and changing. The fourth line is more like community service. So they have a different way of describing it.
Those are the steps.
I love
Those
it.
are the steps.
That's crazy.
If it's 6-based, it's telling me it's a Venus-based system.
Mm. Oh, really?
Yeah, Venus.
Huh.
Venus is 6. She's very 6-y.
Oh my God. I never even thought about that. Yeah. Okay. Got it. But then the 6th line, what you were saying about 29 goes to 0, that 6th line is the same energy. It's like, because it's getting ready to become the number 1 of the next gene key, it's kind of done. It's kind of like moving on. And it's not really like been there, done that. Like, let's go to the next thing. I'm excited about what's coming next. That's why you're saying it's like a future oriented energy. It matches. Wow. That is very cool.
Oh yeah. I did some work with Dylan Design Maven, and we've discovered some things about gene keys. I'm not sure if I'm not yet. I'll tell you afterwards. But like we clearly see step numbers all over human design.
I'm sure of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Because it's humans, it's consciousness. Yeah.
No, that is amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. So no, I'd be totally curious about that.
I'll share. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I asked God, so you kind of said like, you're asking me sort of like, when did it change? When did the step system change? I guess you're asking like, at what point did it become real? I don't know but you're kind of leading that question. And I'll tell you, it was when I had to, I wanted my girl so bad. So I was like, I kept praying, like, this is the year I was just crazy romantic the whole year. Like, where is she? I think Jupiter was in my 7th. And I was just like, where is she? And my guide's like, you'll get the girl when you get the dog. I was like, oh, I gotta get a dog. And I was like, oh God, I gotta get a house, I gotta get a dog. Like, I'm in LA. Like, I gotta get a house to get a dog to the girl. Like, so I was like, fuck, I get a house. I don't have the money on the credit. So I'm like, all right, I got really frustrated. I'm like, all right, this is when I first started really talking to my guides too. Like really asking them questions, asking them questions. We're going around like, I don't know what to do. Like, do you ask your guides? You're a psychic, it finally dawned on me like, wait a second, I answer for my clients. So I asked them that, I need to know, please tell me, what is the formula for manifestation? It's got to be like the secret formula. You tell me, you can trust me, right? And the guy's like, oh, okay, no problem. It's 0, 1, 2, and all the way up to 11. I was like, oh my God, you mean? And I realized that was a quantum leap, because I was like, holy shit, you mean if you put, and it just came pouring in, if you sequence the planets in the order of 0 through 11, you put them in that sequence, you'll manifest things. I was like, no way. So then I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. I just intuitively knew how to do it. Because I had always said forever, what you be is what comes. Like once you be a frequency, it will come to you. So I was like, oh, so if I just like make the 0 be a house, like make the 0 a homeowner and the 1 a homeowner and the 2 a homeowner and 3, if I make each of these things all a homeowner, I'll have a home. Like that's how it's going to work. And they're like, try it. So I was like, okay, fuck it. I'm going to do it. So I did one, I think it was 1 per day for 12 days. So I was like, okay, it's 0 day. So the boundaries are like, I'm a homeowner, you're not. Like I was just consciously like playing that like role, like that state of awareness, my boundaries. Like I'm a homeowner, I have to do that. It's just my boundaries, how my boundaries would change, how my limits would change, how I'd have parties now, things I could do, like the S's and O's. And like the day 1, I was just like, I'm loving my house, I'm loving it. I was like living my heart. And so I just like played the role.
God, I love this. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Played the role until I got to step 8, you decide, and 9 you commit, and 9 you act. So it's like right around those days, like clockwork. I had been checking Craigslist every day, anyways. Checking Craigslist back then. It's Craigslist, and I got to like 8. I think I got to 7. It was 7, step 7, which is I sense, the intuitive state of awareness, Neptune. And so I'm like, okay, this is my sensory one, and I'm walking out the door to go look at houses, and suddenly my guide stopped me. Stop! It's not on their list. I was like, what? What's not on my list? They're like, the house is not on your list. I'm like, okay, fuck. I mean, they don't always interrupt like that, right? So, but it's like a heavy, like, knocks you over kind of. So I'm like, okay, well then where is it? And they're like, it doesn't have a picture. I was like, oh, that makes sense. Of course I wouldn't answer one with a picture. So I go back and I look for a picture one, and I find this house that's like described like so awesome, like perfect for me. I was like, huh, okay, fuck it. I'm gonna call her up. I call her up, she's available right then. I was like, shit, she's available now. Get there. Walk in the house. It's like the Brady Bunch house. It was like so awesome. Like just like, oh my God, I can't afford this. And it was, but it was like just pool, just everything I wanted as a kid. Everything I wanted as a kid in the house, like the house I wish my parents would have bought, right?
Yeah.
This is amazing. And I was like, wow. So I get to the end of it, I'm like, I've got bad credit. I mean, bad credit. You know, like I didn't, you know, I was at Pluto in the second. I didn't care, right? And here's this like really nice Jewish woman. I'm like, fuck, I'm really not going to score here. Like, I'm not a mensch, you know, like, and she goes, what do you do, Chris? And I'm like, I'm in TV, you know, I work for production. She's like, oh, do you know Eddie Blah, blah, blah? I'm like, short Jewish guy who's gay? That's him. I was like, he's my boss. He's my boss. Like, I report to him. He runs all of this, you know, this. She's like, oh, you know Eddie? Well, then it's yours.
Oh my God.
I know. I was like,
That's
oh, like I
amazing.
was just like, oh my
Yeah.
God. I'm getting
That's
goosebumps from remembering
amazing.
it.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, I love it. It's funny, you were reminding me, I did a reading for a lady a few days ago, and one of the questions that was asked, and I think we get this question a lot. People want to know about relationship, what's coming up,
Yeah.
is there something showing up? And I remember telling her, because there's a part of me that is very resistant to those questions, I got to be honest. Because
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't predict. I'm like, it's going to depend on you. I'm like, you are the one who's either going to manifest it or not. You have the full power to do that. And so asking me to be like, oh, a new relationship will show up on October 11th of whatever, whatever. I don't, I can't. I just can't. I don't know. I have a thing. Anyways.
You don't want to tell them bad news.
Right.
Probably,
Yeah.
that's
Right. Yeah.
probably what it is. You don't want to, most of the time it's bad news. Most. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, but then I told her, I was like, I was like, what does this, perfect person that you wish you had look like or feel like, right? Energetically, not necessarily like, but yeah,
Hmm.
you can get specific. But then I remember being like, okay, so how would you feel if you were in this like epic relationship that you just love? What would life look like? What would be the things that you literally did day to day if you were in this relationship? How would you feel if you woke up in the morning and you were in this relationship? How would you feel going to bed if you were in this relationship? What would life literally look like and feel like if you were in this relationship? And I remember telling her that I was like, that's how you're going to make it. That's how you're going to bring it. It's like you got to,
Yes.
like you said, you got to be it. You got to believe it to see it. Like you got to become it. And I remember it like, and I live here in this house. It's unfinished. We have a temporary shower. We have no insulation. We started doing insulating this last weekend. So now we're being hit by this crazy freaking snowstorm here in Arizona
Oh,
out of nowhere. Okay. It's like a foot now of snow, like crazy. I've never seen this much snow here. And so we're cold, whatever. It's rough, dude. We're freaking roughing it. Okay. But I told this lady, I was like, every day, this house is my castle. It's like I go from like I'm like Cinderella, like singing to my rats, but in my mind, it's a freaking castle. You know what I mean? And I'm living in my castle. And so
yeah.
like it's like it's all about perspective and it's like and it brings I don't know, there's just something about feeling it that
Yes.
brings it to you way faster
Yes.
than saying I want it, I want it, I want it, because the universe is just here. I don't have it, I don't have it, I don't have it, and it just gives you more of like I don't have it, I don't have it, I don't have it. You know?
I know why. I know why. I mean, I claim to. Because number two, the moon. The moon is a very special. First of all, if you talk to aliens or alien channels,
Yeah, I
which
love
I
it.
do, and it's so funny how I say
I
that.
love, I
That's
love
so casual about it. But if
it.
you talk to people, watch the channels, whatever, they all tell you that what's special about Earth and Earthlings is that they have the ability to create,
Yes.
and that they have emotions. Those are two new features God didn't have before. Okay, those it's a new feature. So they're really curious about these things that they don't have, in their bloodline and whatever. So the feeling turns out to be a super state. Our feelings are what is known as the Holy Ghost, Father, Son, the Holy Ghost. So Father is zero, Son is the one, and the Holy Ghost is two, right? The Son, which is the Son, number one, step one, the Son, number one, step one is the Son. So Father is zero, step one, and the Holy Ghost is two. The Holy Ghost is this extra state of awareness that we have that basically circles around us and spins around us. This energy spins around us. And what it does is as it spins around us, it picks up on all of us at the same, all around, right? So the moon that goes around all 12 states of awareness and around the earth, it's picking up on all of them and stirring them into the pot, into this big soup. And that soup is our emotional state of awareness. And so our emotions are a quick access to our whole self. So you can feel your whole self by going into your feelings. You'll feel your body, you'll feel your mind, you'll feel your arrogance, you'll feel your sexual energy, you'll feel everything. if you let yourself feel it. And so I think, this has been well known for a long time. I mean, the reason why there's a campaign for, she's a crazy woman, she's too emotional. Yeah, because she can feel you're fucking lying. You can feel when you're being tricked. You can feel what you can't see or pay attention to right now. You can feel it. You can feel it over there. You can feel it over here. You can feel everything going on because that moon has this constant orbit. It's constantly cycling the Earth. Your emotional state is constantly cycling everything and picking up on everything, which is why it's difficult to kind of separate your feelings. And that's why I think the master degrees are from 20 to 29, because it's everything, your entire life, what you feel, and what your entire life, and right. And so you have to really be in touch with your feelings, understand your entire life, and understand what each of those feelings are and what each of those feelings are causing inside of you if you're going to master anything and you're going to manifest from that perspective.
Oh my God, 100%. That's incredible. Yes, that makes so much sense.
I know.
We are emotional beings, and like even with, I keep connecting it to human design, because in human design there's this whole thing about emotional authority and the solar plexus center and how it's about feelings, and some people literally have to listen to their feelings to be able to make important decisions, which is like right, exactly. Yeah, but everyone is feeling, and it's like all revolves around this. It's like the most important center. It all
is
revolves around the emotions. So
on
it's
this on
like
this planet. It is on this planet.
fascinating.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's fascinating. And all of this, the reason why I love this, and how, you stumbled upon this, it's totally new. I haven't seen anyone else do this, not even close,
No.
and you
No.
came upon this, but it matches with all of these other things that at least personally I've studied, right? So like
Yes.
Hermetic alchemy, the laws of the universe, like how the universe works, the way that they describe how the universe works, all of it is like, it's a match. All of it is a match. And then,
100%.
yeah. So
Crazy.
yes, I think that this is phenomenal. Like to be able for it to have channeled through you to come into the
Oh.
world, and
Mm.
for you to be able to, like, I mean, how many people are you helping because of this? You know what I mean?
I know the step. I don't know the step number, but but
Yeah.
but I I'm really honored. I mean, I actually one of our practitioners at SiriusJoy is Krista Marie Miller. She channels Mary Magdalene, Jesus' wife, and that that's a trip first of all. But I got a chance to sit down with Mary Magdalene when Krista went in trance at my house and like for like 45 minutes. And Mary said to me, she's like, for one, it was like they were kind of honest, like I've been trusted with this, like this is something I earned, so I believe that because I know how noble I am about knowledge. But she said the step system, though you're calling the step system, is called different things in the past, is the basis of all human consciousness. Like it is the basis. It plays into everything. It is the ground zero of everything in every modality. She says, and she wants to help. And so what she does is she's helping Krista, they're basically decoding the steps into different modalities. Like so you can use it almost as a translation. It's like knowing Latin. If you know Latin, you know pretty much a little bit of Spanish, a little French, a little English.
Yeah.
Step system, same thing. If you know step system, you know a little bit of all the modalities. Apparently, you
Oh
look at
my
the numbers in
God.
tarot. You can look at numbers anywhere. Yeah.
Oh God, I love that, because one of the things that I do is
Mm.
literally put these like three systems together, because I
Yes.
started studying astrology, and then I learned about the gene keys,
Mm.
and it was crazy because for me the gene keys, the numbers were like coming to me. I remember one time I was given a yemming shoe, and a yemming shoe is this stone that is comes from China. It does grow naturally, but they can also create it, like in a lab. So, anyways, it glows in the dark.
Wow.
The
That's
light
cool.
of
I
so
want
the
it.
light of the sun charge, it's like a glow in the dark, but it's like a stone.
Mm.
It's incredible. Anyways, my husband bought me one, and the
Cool.
guy who sold it to him was like, "Well, I can't. I don't just give it. Like you got to come, you got to do a whole little ceremony and ritual, and then you can have it." And I was like, "Okay, great, that's awesome." So I love that, So we go and
I
we
do.
meet him, and he's like super cool, and he's got his little like, and he picks it for you. You can't pick your own.
Mm. Mm.
So it all makes sense, right? So then he's got this one, and mine looks like a little ball. It's literally
Oh.
a little ball, so it looks like a little moon. It's crazy
Oh.
because I have a whole program called the Moon Goddess Training. I mean, it's insane, right? So as he picks this little ball shape for me, and it's in this necklace, and I still have it. I freaking love it. So he sits down and he's like, okay, I want you to close your eyes and I want you to like picture what, just tell me what you see, tell me what you're tuning into, like what's your intention, whatever. And I close my eyes and I see this like wormhole. Like it's like a
Wow.
portal that's like we're going like through a wormhole. And I'm like, what the hell? That's crazy. And then he's like, okay, I want you to pick a number. And I'm like, 35. He's like, oh, well, okay.
Wow. Yeah. 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 Where'd that come from?
I'm like, that's amazing. So then he pulls out the Gene Keys book.
Wow.
And I was like, wait, what? He's like, all right, 35. And like 35 is the description of the 35th Gene Keys, wormholes and miracles. And it
Wow.
and get this, it's where my sun is. My
Oh,
son is on the
the chart.
35th
You
Jinky.
love 35. Mm.
What the hell? Oh, it was crazy. And
Wow.
that happened. And I was like, okay. And that's the minute where I was like, I need to go way deeper into the gene keys than I have. And I did. And then that led me to human design. And then I was like, they're all the same. I was like, they're all
Yes.
different languages saying the
Yes.
same thing. And then now the step system comes into the awareness. I mean, I knew you were doing this, but I never really like sat down to study it, like learn about it. I really want to learn it. But now it's like we're discovering that like these are all, and this is how I feel about the three systems that I use. They are just saying the same thing, but in different languages. And for some people, this one resonates. For some people, that one resonates.
Hmm.
And so, I mean, oh my God, if you could put it all together, right? That
I
would
wonder if,
be
yeah,
incredible.
I sometimes think that's what the Tower of Babel is. I feel like when they talk about Tower of Babel and the whole thing, I feel like at some point the systems were divided so humans can decode it anymore. Like, so I think it was all one in Atlantis. I think we had all of them together. They're all interdisciplinary. And to me, they're different tools for different looking at different things.
Right.
Astrology is like the pure form of the states. The step system is how it incarnates. So the architecture of incarnation, 0 through 11, that is how everything unfolds. It's constantly going that cycle, that constant cycle. So you use different tools to look at. It's like if you have this like object, you might look at it through a telescope, you might look at it through, some sort of, ion beam. And that's what these are. These are like looking at it from different things. Each perspective of looking at human soul includes some things and excludes others. One thing I thought about human design, it's like, oh my God, when I had my first human design thing, and you're part of that, by the way, Gene Keys, you just had my first big impression of Gene Keys. So, by the way, so we're equally opening each other's eyes.
Right. Yeah.
Like, oh my God, there's stuff in there that I don't even know where, I can't even look in astrology. Where's that mean astrology? Nowhere. Nowhere in astrology is that. Like the manifest generator. What the hell is that in astrology? I have no idea where that is. Like, Earth is where you manifest. Like, so, but, I've tried to put it to connect, the dots. No, it's not there. It's just astrology doesn't measure that.
Hmm.
Or at least the
Right.
one I know, astrology I know.
Right. Hmm.
So I gotta pick up a different tool. If I want to know how I radiate how my aura ends up turning out, I need some other system to read the aura, and it's not astrology.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yes.
It it's
What's amazing is right
mind-blowing.
here in our nose.
I
You know.
know. I know. No, it's incredible. And I think that this is why, I mean, I know this is why I'm here. I know this is why you're here. Like we are here to usher in the new age, and we're remembering the information from the ancient past, and it's coming through, and we're like, that's why I'm like, I feel drawn to all of it.
Oh,
I'm
me
like,
too.
there's not one that I'm like, no, it's only this, and this is the only way. Like I don't at all. I'm like, no, 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 no. My Gemini mind's like, there's more here. I want to know more. Like, show me more, tell me more. I'm so open to like just receive more information. Like, give me more information. And this is why I think I personally have like gone and studied so many different systems. And I love that this is where it led me. I love that now, led me to you. And I love that
Mm.
all these things coming together and it feels so right. And it
Mm.
feels so like we are on time. It's just
Oh.
so
Mhm.
it makes my heart so happy. Like I'm literally meeting so many people now like you that
Mhm.
have been doing, their work, very strongly. They're very powerful influence, and it feels like we're uniting, which is
Yes.
actually a great segue
It's Unite the Light. Yes.
to
Yes.
talk about Unite the Light.
Yes.
Please share with us what this event is and what do we need to know about it?
Well, yeah. Well, first of all, I think You're right. I want to agree with everything you said. This is the time of the age of light. I think you're a foremother. I'm a forefather of the age of light. I
Mhm.
think people go back and they'll look at our works, which led to works, which led to works, which led to works. So I think that we can enjoy to say, the last time that we had this was, the American Constitution and, Thomas Jefferson. They were the forefathers and mothers of democracy. So and here we are of the new age. So it's awesome to be on that beginning, right? But my guides told me about last year, actually, when I started doing Astro Mingle, my guides are like, okay, it's time for you to do this next phase that we've always told you about since you were 9, like, which is that we want you to organize it. I'm like, oh, what do you mean organize it? We want you to organize it. I was like, okay. So long story short, my son's in the 10th house. So I'm all about like, I just love to see how things work, how they operate, how to make them operate better, like how we get more efficient with stuff. And so I've been noticing like this industry has got to legitimize. We have to legitimize. We can no longer be laughed at. We can no longer be, touted at. We have a friend who's part of our system. She went out to create a credit union for a sole credit union she's creating. And I got on board right away. And, she put up the application to the government and she was like, we're all light workers. We're all spiritual people. They're like, that's not a profession. The government came back. You can't do it. It's not a profession. It's like, what? So it's like we haven't legitimized ourselves as an industry yet, and I've seen how all other industry has gone to horribly bad. I've been watching. I've been so fascinated with business my whole life. Like I see exactly how the unions went too far. They started off as a good thing. They went too far. I know exactly how corporations gone too far. I know how it all has become incredibly corrupt because from the very beginning there weren't certain safeguards put in, including the Constitution. The Constitution messed up by not mentioning corporations. They messed up. That's where they messed up. So now corporations have the right of a citizen, according to the last, ruling of the Supreme Court. It's like, no, it's a dead entity. But long story short, so I want to be, once I got really involved and I started like, I was one of the pioneers on YouTube and, people out there who I can say like, this is a movement, this is happening, right? I started to think how are we going to do this? I just cannot let us go down south, right? So I realized I had to organize people and get them to come together and start to come together. Like we have to start talking to each other. It was happening organically anyways, because it's like I'd been in my silo for so long. And all of a sudden I was just like, oh, what's she doing? Like I had paid no attention to anyone else. Not because I'm arrogant. It's just because I was so obsessed in my own lab work. It's like, and somebody like, oh, have you heard this astrologer? No, I haven't. I haven't. Get away. I'm working in my lab, but now it's like, oh, what's everyone else doing? And so what this is an event. And then we had like, COVID and all this stuff, and all this propaganda about how Davos and all these dark people go to this place every year, and they talk about how to rule the world, and they're telling, and they're like, we're gonna tell you, you're not gonna own anything, and you're gonna like it. It's like,
What are
who
we
the
gonna
fuck?
do today, Pinky? Our
Yeah,
brain.
totally. It's like, who the fuck? And you're in your Learjets, and you're talking about like, you're flying in Learjets, a nice, beautiful, like, you're not you're not living by the principles you preach, like all this. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, why do all the evil people get together, not the good people? Why don't the good people get together once a year? Like, where is that? Where's the convention? Like, where is it? And so I was like, I'm gonna do that one day. And then I was on a vacation in Mexico with my brother, and they're like, it's the day. I'm like, oh great. Well, they're like, no, we want it in May. I was like, well, that's impossible. I can't get this. I mean, it's January. So last year, January, they're like, make it now. And I was just like, wow. And
Wait, so
then
the Unite the Light is new?
brand new. This is
Are
second
you
year.
serious?
Yes, second
I
year. Yeah.
swear to God, when you were talking about it, I was like, oh, this has been going on for years.
No, it's
I
brand
don't
new.
know where I got that, but
Maybe because
that's
they'll go on
amazing.
for years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's like, it's been, yeah. Anyways, that's awesome. I
I
love
can
it.
go into so much detail, but I just think that, look, if we both know this is how the universe actually works.
Yeah.
Okay. And so we are the experts of that. Do you know
Mm-hmm.
how powerful that is? That we're
Mm-hmm.
the experts of how it actually works?
Mm-hmm.
And so, and we're not that, we're not evolved in lots of ways. I mean, I think light workers are quite often ego stupid. And of course you are ego stupid because you were spending everything with the light. How'd you learn how to, you didn't club people over the head. You didn't go to jail. You didn't do that stuff. So yeah, you're an idiot when you get power. You sit there and you go too far with it sometimes. I mean, light workers can't handle power. I'm telling you, they cannot most of the time. It's like, it's just not graceful, right?
Mhm.
Because they haven't had it, because they weren't going for it, because it
Yeah.
wasn't important.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what makes total sense, right? So it's like this time, can we once we realize that we have the secret to all of life, can we maybe just make sure it doesn't blow us up, and that people don't go too far with it? Because that's what Atlantis did. I mean, they took these metaphysics and they blew up the island. They used these
Right.
powers to hurt, manipulate, and I was there and I remember it. So I said we need to do the event. So the idea of the event is really simple. It's super super simple. It's just once a year we come together and we do presentations like show and tell. The first day is like show and tell. So it's like, look what this person's doing. Look what this person's doing. Oh my God, look at this. Look at this. And it's just people who are taking their craft and they're putting it into interesting things. Like, so So we have a woman here who's coming. She's from Colombia. She's the last presentation, but she's basically discovered a way to where she looks at your human design and then she tells you how to market and get your customers. So it's like the
I
biggest
love
complaint.
that.
I know. Because every lightworker's like, I don't want to go on social media. I don't want to. And she's addressing that wine. It's just like, she's like, you're right. It should be right here in our own stuff. So she went out, she found it, and she's got this. She's going to present to you. This is what I did. This is how you do it. And, by the way, I'm simplifying. What she's done is so brilliant. And she uses mostly human design, which I was like, with you, I'm like, teach me quick,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So stuff like that we're showing, and then we have a light worker who basically he's a local person. His Mark writes his name, and he basically does his own housing for like Habitat Humanity kind of thing. He's personally built 65 homes for people in Nashville, Tennessee. So we call him a classic light worker. Like, this is the light workers they've been here all along, kids. We're not new. If you care about the world,
You know the Waves of Volunteers?
what's that?
Have you heard of the Waves of Volunteers by Dolores Cannon?
Oh no, I haven't heard that.
Oh, really? Well, she talks about how there's these 3 waves of volunteers that came in, basically the light workers, right?
Oh,
They came in and there was the first wave, and that's like the people, I guess you could say, in the 60s, 50s and 60s, where they were adults in that space. And then but it was really hard for them because they didn't have like a way to like guide themselves. So actually a lot of them committed suicide. And then the second wave of volunteers would be us. And we came into the world, we're a little bit more comfortable. There's a little bit more like freedom. And then the third wave will be the children. But it's basically the light workers that came in to work the light.
wow. Okay,
And she
so
says that some of us didn't even come here, like have never even been on Earth, have never even had a lifetime on Earth. So we're coming here and we are having to implant memories from past lives just to feel like like we know what we're doing.
oh wow, yeah, I know those
So
people.
it's
I met a couple.
so it's interesting that you say like, oh yeah, they don't know anything about power, because it's true.
Yeah.
This Earth is like a whole nother.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, well, I mean, we can talk about Earth a whole nother episode, but like, for what I've learned about Earth and how special it is, and it's completely created. It's not created by God. It's created by God's workers, angels. I mean, it was created by higher realms. It's designed. It's specifically designed. It's
Yeah.
designed to be the best that we've ever done so far. It's God's greatest work so far. Like, it's just amazing when you hear the story behind it. And so, there's a lot of souls in the universe that, from what I understand, there's a wait to get on Earth. You can't just come to Earth. You
Mm.
just come to Earth. So everyone's like, I'm getting off this planet. This is my last life. Like, you don't even realize how long you waited to come here. Like,
I've always heard that this is a coveted experience.
oh yeah, it's very special. And
Yeah.
honestly, I don't know. I sense that. So these people who come to volunteer. These are the God's best social spiritual engineers of the universe coming in. These are
Mm.
the best specialists of the entire
I
universe
love
coming in
that.
and incarnating in to like create this experience for everyone to enjoy for billions of lifetimes in the future, where you can go. It's a library of how you understand God. It's a library of all the genetics, all the stuff, all the plants. We understand. We even though we have so many plant species, it's because they've all been transplanted from other planets. From what I understand, all these plants, these
Yeah.
aren't native. Nothing is native to Earth. Nothing. Which is,
True.
it's all been brought by. It's like basically all the different species, all different aliens are like dumping shit on here, and they grew here like dolphins,
I
all of
heard
it.
it's so funny. I heard Matteo Matias Estefano, he's another
I
really
love it, dude.
awesome. Yeah, he actually says that we're here to end the Orion Wars. So
Wow.
the way that the Galactic Federation got together, and they said, okay, we are going to trick everyone, all these people that are fighting against each other, all these different star beings fighting against each other, and by telling them that they can come to Earth because there's these like resources here and blah 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 blah. So then everybody starts coming here, and then they start breeding with the native like I guess monkeys of
Yeah.
the planet, right? There were some native beings, but so anyways, there's like, yes. So they seeded the DNA of all these different star beings that were fighting with each other. And so here we are. Our DNA has the DNA of all of them, and we're
Well,
supposed to end the war. Like he said
well,
that, and I'm like, you know what?
yes.
It kind of makes sense.
Yes, I think that was the political reason. I mean, so
Right.
yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I might get it from him too, because they thought that since they couldn't freaking figure it out, like how to end the wars between them, they're like, let's just have a baby that has all of us in them,
Yes.
and then that baby will figure it out.
Right.
It was like the
Exactly.
logic, right? The baby
Oh,
will
I
figure it
just
out.
got
Like, 'cause
chills. I just got chills.
which is why we're so fighting. Why Earthlings are fighting with ourselves. Like, what the fuck? I'm constantly fighting with myself. It's like
It's
one
true.
alien thing,
Oh
all this.
my God.
Yeah, because we're figuring it
Whoa.
out. That's why life on Earth might be hard. It's like
Yeah.
so damn hard because we're just so like we don't get along by nature inside
Yeah.
of ourselves. I think that's the principle of enlightenment. I think the principle of enlightenment, at least for Earth, is what I call the United States of awareness. Like
Mhm.
we have to unite all of our inner states of awareness into the same oneness inside of ourselves. That's where the war is. The war is inside yourself. You're fighting with your subconscious. You're fighting with your feelings. And so once you're at peace with yourself, I think then you start to have peace in the world. And that's the problem. I think. I think there's aliens who didn't like that they did that. They're touches like, well, we're gonna go down. We're gonna fuck on them anyways. Like, oh, you made this perfect species. Oh, we're gonna screw. Oh, they're gonna pay for that. So I think it's funny too. It's funny to hear. I don't know if you hear other alien channels speak about it. But when the alien channels speak about it, you can hear like the Palladians. I've heard a lot of them, talk,
Yeah.
and they're just funny. You can see their whole attitude on it. You can see their attitude about these different species. You can see they have prejudice to all each other, even though they're enlightened. It's funny. You know what I mean?
It is really funny, but
Yeah. It's like,
it makes sense. It makes so much sense, especially when you're saying like we fight with each other. It's like, yes, that is exactly why. And when we heal ourselves, we heal the collective because essentially we are all part of the one,
yes.
the consciousness, cosmic mind that we
Yeah.
all like are from and then come back to. And so on and so forth. So we've heard that story a lot of times, but that's why. And so I think this is a microcosm of the macrocosm that is happening galactically, universally, and I really do believe that we're here to do some major work. So, yeah.
I agree. This lifetime is the pinnacle one. When I was like 5, I remember now, I'm like, God, I can't believe how prolific I was as a child, but I was like, I know I'm here to do something important. I know this is the lifetime to do it. I know this is the only life I can do it in. Yeah, I was just aware that this lifetime was very important. And my mom was like, boy,
Me
you were
too.
serious. Don't get in the way of you and the Lego thing because you just got crazy if I get in the way of your Lego mission. It's like I'm adamant about it.
I just remember being super intense, and I never realized it until later on in life that I'm like, oh my God, I'm like super intimidating sometimes to people. But
Mm.
energetically, I think it's my Mars and Saturn in Scorpio. Like, there's just an
Yeah.
intensity about me that's just like, but anyways, I remember growing up, I was like, no, I was like angry. I was just
Mm.
angry. Like I'm like, this isn't it. This isn't it. It's not here. It's not here. I can't like I know it's somewhere here, but it's not here. And I was just so
Right.
frustrated. So I was like,
Mhm.
there's something I need to find. And that never went away. And then finally I realized I found it, right? Thank God. And so I came into alignment, but I always felt that as well, that there was something that was missing that I needed to find.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I knew there's something I needed to do. And actually, right now, the light is just on me.
Yeah.
There's something I
This
needed
is
to
great.
do. I have a way
It's great
it's,
because
God's
talking
like
about
speaking, like,
United.
yeah, totally. It's like, that's a problem about uniting the light. It's always following you. Um,
Yeah,
yes,
so
so funny.
you needed to do, yeah, I needed to find myself. That was my journey. And once I found
Uh,
myself, I was like, now I know what to do.
I had to realize I knew after all. I did know. Like I think my big question was, I think I lived a couple lifetimes where I'm like, am I full of shit? Because it didn't turn out at all like I thought. And
Mm.
so I had to damage. My Chiron's in the ninth. So where's your Chiron?
My Chiron is in the 12th.
Oh, okay, that's God.
Yeah.
You know. So like my beef was with beliefs. Like I don't know if I can believe myself or not. I don't know. Like it was a major I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But I
Mm-hmm.
need to know. You need to know if you're gonna do something cool. You need to know because if you don't know, then how are we supposed to know? You know. You know. Uh,
Yeah,
I guess
exactly.
yours has to do with faith. Well, it's also 12th house is forgiveness.
Mm-mm.
So maybe you're angry and you had to like let that whatever that was go.
Mm-hmm. I
And
was also, yeah, I was also seriously emotionally sensitive because of so many undefined centers
uh,
in my chart that I didn't realize it at the time. But this happens to projectors a lot, or just in general, people that have a lot of undefined centers.
mhm.
You take on everyone else. You literally become them, and it drives
Yes,
you crazy. And
yes,
that's why I was like, who am I in this crazy mess? Bah! Like it was like that for me. And I had to literally leave. I'm like, I'm moving 2 states away. Goodbye. Like I gotta get out of here. And I
yeah.
always felt that I gotta get out of here. I gotta get out of here my entire life. Like my entire, okay, not entire life, but yeah, up until my early 20s.
I think that's from your zeros in your chart. I was telling you. So
Torture. Yeah.
zeros are that way. So zeros, if you have a 7 out of the zero, it's a weird number because it's like it's the zero for a reason, right? So
Yeah.
first of all, zero is a magic number, so it tells you that they can be a wizard because they can turn that zero into any number
Mm.
very easily. Then they don't have to like turn off. Like if you're an 8, you got to turn off the 8, then go to 0. Then that's a lot of work, right?
Right.
Your 0 is like you can be an 8. So what's happening is because you have it undefined 0, anyone around you will automatically define it. Like they'll define it as them. So if they're an 8, they're like, you're an 8 just like me. No, you actually filled her 0 with an 8 and thought she was an 8. So these people like tend to get projected on and like all these kind of taken advantage of, and you do feel vulnerable because it's undefined because you're not exercising the 0. And the exercising the 0 is no. That's the definition.
Right. Literally describes the process. I was like, enough. We're done.
No.
No.
Now it's defined.
Now it's defined.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. Yeah. The reading you did for me was incredible.
It's interesting.
Yes.
The power of 0 is interesting. I'm saying it's like, so people have like 0 anything. It's like, you need to know people project on you. People, and you have to define it because you're like open, you got a hole there. It's like nothing there. There's like,
Story of my life.
Yeah. Like what's in here? We don't know. Which means maybe you are one of those starseeds that came over and had planned.
I often think about that because I'm like, I'm sitting here quite often and I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? What is this shit? What is this planet? Like, what on earth are we doing? What are we doing? Nothing. I have these these crazy questions. I'm like, what is this? It's like in that movie, Scary Movie, like, what are you waiting for?
Yeah.
What are you waiting for? Like these weird moments where I'm just like, calm down, just stick to what you're doing. Like, don't freaking fly off, But I have those moments. I just get like, I don't even know what's going on.
I get exhausted. I understand. I think this is not my first planet I've ascended. I realize that. It's like the third, I think will be the third.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I'm pretty sure.
And I don't remember, but I probably have experienced this.
Well, I think once you probably have. You wouldn't be here if you hadn't. I don't think so. It's like so you realize that when you get into a system, a soul gets caught into a system like Earth system. You're lost, and they're lost, and everyone's lost for a long time. And it's and you realize everyone's, of course you're a fucking mess because of all this stuff, and so there came a point when I was just like, oh crap, well, I realized, first of all, it's not going to heal as fast as I want it to, because it's just, everyone's got to go through all of it. They have to all understand it, they have to all decode it. And you just realize, okay, it's just a matter of phases of growth. And, for the most part, God's already said you will come back home to me. So none of you think you're not going anywhere. You're not getting off this planet alive,
Yeah. Not in the physical sense.
Right. And you're not going past this either. Like they're like, there's a lock on it. Like you're locked. Like you're stuck here. You have to finish your plate. So, you're done. So it's going to happen. It will happen. So when you get frustrated like that, I'm like, it's going to happen. It's just not going to happen at the rate you want and way you wish it could happen. And you're probably remembering how perfect things were in your world, and you're wishing it was like that, and you forgot what you signed up for.
Remember when I said Dylan says I'm the mental projector's like the satellite, and I think what's going on when that's happening, I'm like, bzz, 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 like I'm feeling these like everything at once, and that's why I'm confused. But one of my jinxes is that I have a shadow of confusion and doubt. I often live in that space. I have to the key is like I have to surrender to the confusion and the doubt, not try to figure it out.
So do you create a lot? I mean, are you a manifestor by nature, or do you want a person who shows up and just observes, or
when I'm around, like when I just kind of go around, I am a huge observer. But at the same time, I also manifest a lot in my life. Like magic. It's like I take quantum, like it's miracles, right? So my son is on wormholes and miracles. So that's a frequency that I like can instantly like just jump into different like states and it manifests in the physical. But I'm also a huge observer, and it's weird because it's like I can talk and talk and talk and talk, but then when I'm like actually in front of people, I'm kind of like shy, introverted until I get comfortable, and then it's like, all right.
Yeah, totally.
Then I don't
zeros. It's those zeros. I'm going crazy with this live.
Yeah, I know that.
This is my everyday at this time.
Oh no.
Yeah, I've this office is cool. It's got cool like windows at the top, but like when the
Uh-huh.
sun sets perfectly,
When the
like you
sun is
see.
like
I
yeah.
think God's making a point.
Well, yeah,
Very
this
funny.
is a message.
It is. We're just gonna sit here and I mean, basically, I'm gonna basically ascend right here in front of you. I'm gonna turn to a ball of light and I'm gonna leave. Like, okay, that was it. That's all I had to say, folks.
Oh
In
my
this final
God.
interview with Jay, yeah, with Jay,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
And
hilarious.
then he sent it from that point on.
Yeah.
Send master. That's what I
No.
want to be next to send a master. That'd be awesome.
Mm.
Just put it out there. Just put it out there. I bet they're like, we know we could say that on the air. Okay, just want to let you know. Okay, what do I apply?
Oh, oh, I
Yeah,
love that.
be fun. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, it has been amazing having this conversation with you. Oh my
yeah,
God. I knew it was just gonna flow. I was like, oh, I didn't write any questions down. Oh, whatever.
yeah.
Let's go with it. So, no, I love that. Thank you so much. I would love for, people who want to work with you that are just getting to
Mm.
see you and are introduced to you. How can they reach you? How can they work with you? And yeah, share with us events that are coming up, things that are
Okay.
important. Feel free.
So Unite the Light is May 17th and 18th, and it's in Nashville, Tennessee. It is streamed. Like we're going to talk about some amazing stuff there. You want to be in the know. I just want to bring the most exciting stuff going on every year and make this the show and tell capital of light work. That's what I want. And I'm not going to, I'm always going to leave it free to the people. I'm going to let it be run by choice, free will. So just, I'm one person like, George Washington, I will step down the third term. You're like, I will. Like, it's not meant to be controlled by anyone. So it's being designed that way. And so please let's come together and talk. We have a lot to talk about. I think the biggest issue is that it's our time. It's our time. Like if you guys don't know, this is the time.
Yeah.
This is our cue. It wasn't until just now. It's now that you finished up your karma, Saturn and Pisces, and this whole Aries thing is now is the time. This is the time where whatever you're supposed to do, you're supposed to do it. I'm not ready. You are ready. You're ready as much as you need to be right now. And we need to work together because I tell the keep the story. It's like Tom's toothpaste just got bought up by Colgate, and Colgate took away all. Tom's toothpaste is the only toothpaste that had no fluoride, and now Colgate bought it, and fluoride's back in Tom's toothpaste. This is what's going to happen to us as an industry. We're going to be bought up and picked apart piece by piece. We're not going to survive. We're going to be snuffed out. All of our messages, everything is going to be erased if we don't come together. We have to come together. Now we preach that all the time, but are we doing it? No. So it's like there's no excuse. We're all gonna have fun. We're light workers. There's no ego there. So it's like you can come in spirit and watch the show, live streaming with interaction and like you be in Zoom rooms where you're talking to people and meeting people, and just networking with people. Because if we don't like bring our talents together, we're gonna be eaten alive. Just because, and that's that's the other faction that wants to do that wants to keep these truths from coming back on the planet. Here we are bringing them back again. Atlantis had them. The damn library in Egypt had them. What was that library? It was destroyed. Like they keep destroying this stuff. So please come and come in spirit. Come and you can advertise. If you want to meet other people and network. Like we have people who left last year. They went and did a documentary together. Like they found the people they were looking for their projects. That's the other thing. How do you find the people you're looking for your projects? The people who know. It's us. And there's
Right.
inspiration there. So this is what has to happen. We have to sort of not unionize and unite. We have to unite. And everyone there is cool. They don't want to be you. You know what I mean? Like it's not competitive. That's the thing. It's not competitive at all.
Mhm.
And four people like they all are tarot readers. None of them are feeling any slight competition with the other because we all know we do it our own way and we like it that way. And it's okay.
I
Our
love that.
customers choose us, right? We don't. Marketing employees don't. So that's May 17th and 18th. You can go to unitethelight.love, or I'll put the .love generation. So we recommend you get a URL that says .love. Everyone who's in the light should have a .love URL to their website. So get a .love. That's what it's about. That's where that's I think the answer. And if you need discounts or whatever, just come to us. I mean, there's lots of ways to get discounts and stuff. We just our hard part is not giving it away. That's the hard part for us. Like, and then so there's that. But if you want to learn the step system, SiriusJoy.com is my property. And I have basically a service that for $20 a month, I text message you 7 times a day to your phone, text, based on your chart, teaching you day after day exactly how to become aware of all this. And so people usually in about 6 months are pulled out of the matrix. But 3 to 6 months, you pop out of the matrix. You can now see the code.
They
Yeah.
unplug you. No.
Well, you can no longer see the earth the same because every day I'm like, now it's step 6, now it's step 7, now it's step 8. So you're working the steps. We call them light walkers. You're just walking the steps every day. Yeah, light workers are like walking the light. Look at me, I'm representing one right now.
But this isn't a perfect example.
This is so. Can I get this for a commercial? I'm a light walker. I'm Christopher Witecki. That's right. I walk in the light. It kind of follows me everywhere. It's kind of a pain in the ass. Yeah, and it does not give me skin cancer. That's crazy. So yeah, so
This is
Serious
gonna
Joy.
be the clip that I share. This one right here.
Please do. Yes, the one I'm most proud of. The one I'm like an albino from Venus. I'm a tall white now.
Oh
That's
my
right. My
God.
real identity. So SiriusJoy.com is like $3 for the first month, and for $20 a month, like I have a daily pep talk. It's a whole service that's there. The service is there to be your companion. Like and you'll freak out because you'll get a text message from me and you'll be like, holy shit, how does he know that? And it's because it's all in the steps. It's all in the steps. It's crazy. I wrote that 9 years ago, and now you're getting it because it's your first year. So there's that. And then now I'm going to start to teach and certify people and become step astrologers. That's next. So
I'm signing up.
okay.
When does that start?
So there's a class. So we have a class coming out like in May, June. I'm thinking about probably starting Gemini. It goes on sale next week. It's called Introduction to Step Astrology for me, or Introduction to Step Astrology for professionals. So there's like 2 levels.
Amazing.
So that you can like learn. For me, one is for yourself and for your family. So like how to read your family, how to prove Aunt Wanda's nuts, that kind of thing. Like we'll give you those tools and trips, and that's lower cost. It's just not as complicated, but like really practical. So you can know it for you and your husband, your wife, and everyone, and it's a way to kind of read people without having to learn the whole chart. You know, it's a thing.
It's true. Let's look at the numbers. Yeah.
So the numbers, and you know so much about them. You have enough. You can do a whole reading on just the numbers. And then the professionals one is preparing you for if you're a human design person, if you're an astrologer, if you're a person who's just a practitioner already. We're going to come in assuming you are, and we're going to teach you the step system a bit more faster paced, and give you some of the tricks to the trade. Like so those are entry level. And then if you want to go into the STEP certification program, that's going to start probably this late summer, early fall. And that's a 6-month program where you work with me one-on-one for 6 months. We meet once or twice a month, and we do readings together, and I observe and I coach and I just teach everything I know.
Amazing. Oh my God, that sounds so amazing. I am so glad that you are finally stepping into this like the teacher phase, fully.
Thank you. My favorite, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, it lights me up when I see my students learning as well. So I know the feeling. It's the best. It's amazing.
The application. Yeah, I have a diamond program called Diamond Egg program or Diamond Egg Club, and if there's still a few seats if people are curious, but like I basically do an intensive with people for 6 months. Like I work on it, so it's like a 6-month intensive studying with me. But like people bring me like their business for this, or this person wants to get over this thing. It's like there's a huge long-term manifestation projects, and it's amazing to see it like actually see like someone's business open and launch, and like to see those bigger projects happen. As a teacher, it's just so. It's crazy fulfilling.
And that's what we're here to do. That's what we're here to do. Just help elevate each other and come together, like you said. So, oh my God, that's amazing. I'm so excited for all these offerings for myself, but for anyone who is interested as well. Thank you so much
for
being here on the podcast. This was so fun. I honestly can't wait to, keep getting to know you better. And oh man, I will definitely be at Unite the Light next year, 100%. This year I'm going to be in Egypt, but I would be there if I wasn't in Egypt. And I might be there streaming too, So yes, please check Christopher Witecki out. He is amazing. And I'm so, so grateful and so thankful. And thank you so much.
Thank you. And you have just been one of the highlights of this year, let me tell you. Meeting new people, like where were you my whole life? I'm meeting all these light workers. Like, where have you been the whole life? I've been doing this and that. It's great. It's like our families finally come together. It's just,
it's magic. And I feel the same way. So I feel like there's magic happening here. So I am so, so, so excited because I know it's just the beginning.
I think I got a bromance going on with your husband, but we'll talk about that later. Total bromance, budding bromance there.
I love it. I love it. I can't wait for you guys to meet in person.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Thank you so much. And thank you guys for listening and tuning in. And we will see you all again next time.